are we waiting on anyone else?
No, I think we're set to go.
Okay. Does anyone have any preference who would like to start?
Nope.
Okay. Linda, do you want to go ahead and kick us off, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll call to order the Finance Committee for January 18th. Let the record show that all aldermen are in attendance. I'll make a motion to the approval of the previous committee meetings of December 21st. Can I have a second?
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay, monthly reports and finance bills. Did everybody get a copy of their bills so far?
Yes, I did.
Okay, does anybody have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, I just have a couple. On page 2, I do believe, the demo at 701 North Union, it was for 300. Was that just part of a house, or because 700 is pretty low for a demo? Does anybody know about that one?
I can actually help answer that. That's some of the money, remember, that the council had transferred from my program income into the demo line item. So there were 2 properties in North Olean, 701 North Union Street. They took down some porches and they did some boarding up. So that could have possibly just been for materials for them securing the buildings. Because I think it was a garage and the main structure on the 701 North Union, if I recall correctly. Mayor, do you remember it being that way?
I believe you're right on that. Yes.
Yeah, I was just curious. I couldn't remember what that exactly was.
Yeah, I think it was for a garage, Linda, because I asked if we could get the whole building torn down because it's in pretty bad shape on it. It's right on the corner of that brick building. Is what you're talking about, 701.
Okay, thank you. Okay, another question I have, let's see, on page 5, is the Pierce equipment for the vacuum compressor hose. Is that in addition to the part that we had to replace, or that is the part? Because this says a hose for the vacuum, for the sewer department.
I'm not
That's okay. I can check with Bob. I don't think Bob's on right now.
pressure hose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll have to check on that one.
that's okay. I can check with him and just to make sure. Other than that, I don't have any other questions. So if we're all set there, we can move on to unfinished business. I stopped in to talk to Lenz today. And what I'd like, I requested it before, but we never quite got to it, is a monthly or bi-monthly accounting of receipts or monies received back to the council. Every now and then, we have accounts in our monthly bills that we pay, and then we're reimbursed. And I would just like to see that sooner than, on our 6-month report or at the end of the year. So Lenz is going to look into trying to put that together for me. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up on that. And then I just want to welcome Connie Dalton to our auditor's office. Connie's been upstairs for years, and I'm sure she's going to do a great job. And I just want to thank her for putting the bills together and doing it a little differently. It really helped going through. So other than that, does anybody else have any questions as far as finance or unfinished business? Okay, new referrals for consideration? None? And committee reports? We have none, Tiffany? Okay.
We have none.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to adjourn. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned for finance. Thank you.
Vernon, would you like to go?
Sure. Right, I'll call to order the Public Safety Committee for Tuesday, January 18, 2022. I'll let the record show all committee members are present. Approval of minutes from the previous meeting, Tuesday, December 21st, 2021. I'd like to make a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Opposed? None. Unfinished business, we have none. And then new referrals, we have PL 04-22 by Alderman Anastasia to amend the City of Olean Code of Ordinance, Section 24-135, to authorize the installation of a no parking here to corner sign on the northeast corner of North Fifth Street at the intersection with Wayne Street. Alderman Anastasia.
Yeah, what that is I got a couple complaints from residents that live on North Fifth Street. They're complaining that the traffic during the day down there is very heavy because we have focus therapy right on the in between on that block on Wayne Street. And there's also a hearing aid doctor that's in that same building as focus therapy. So what they're complaining about is there's a parking lot that Focus built that goes from 6th to 7th Street, or I mean 6th to 5th Street. And there's an exit there for those cars to exit onto North 5th Street. And so when they're trying to get on the Wayne, which everybody knows Wayne Street, it can be a nightmare, especially during school hours. They can't pull into 5th Street because there's a car parked on the corner. And it's a rental house that's right on the corner. And I'm not good with maps, but here's a picture of it from my cell phone. And what they're requesting is a no parking here to corner sign. And there's a telephone pole right by the driveway where that has access to that house on the corner. So we were asking if we could put a no parking here to corner to keep the tenants from purposely parking right in front of the house instead of the driveway. And that will allow traffic to flow much smoother onto exiting and onto North 5th Street.
So I can go ahead and confirm that as someone who just got done rehabbing his knee at Focus, trying to come out of that parking lot, there is a car that always parks right there. And so as cars are exiting the parking lot, turning right to then turn onto Wayne Street, it does create a bottleneck situation. So then those who are trying to come off of Wayne Street, turn down 5th, it gets quite congested, and it is quite narrow and hectic there. So I'll put my 2 cents in there. And there is off-street parking at that residence. Is that true, Dave?
Yes, there's a driveway right there to the left of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was requesting is if DPW could put the no parking here to corner, there's also a telephone pole right by the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
And that would leave the entire in front of the house free and clear of parking. So that way, if there's a car that wants to come from Wayne Street onto North 5th, at least they can get off of Wayne and get partway down North 5th before, so that traffic can flow much smoother. And I've received it from a couple of residents down there now about that. And they're not complaining about Focus. They're glad Focus is there because they're great landlords, but they're just saying it's got much busier there since they arrived. And I can attest to that too, because I go there twice a week for therapy myself.
I don't have a problem supporting that, Dave.
Thank you.
I don't have a problem.
Okay, so Tiffany, can we get a resolution for next week, or
Yep, if you guys want a motion
I'll make a motion to
to
approve.
approve it.
I'll
I'll
make a-
second.
All right. All in favor?
John or guys,
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
I'm an aye. I did just want to, so I can kind of bury this information in my head. I know we've talked about this before, that there's no parking 15 or 20 feet from stop signs or crosswalks. Does that apply to the space we're just putting the sign in to basically make that clear? Is that how that works?
Basically, to make it clear, for guarantee that there's no parking there, because we can't send an Olean cop down there every time there's a car parked there, because they have other things to do, and it's basically from 9 to 5 that it's congested down there.
Okay, I just wanted to confirm for myself it applies to both sides of the street.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Jason. I know a little, and it is amazing what a sign, and I know we don't want to, it's a slippery slope. We don't want to have signs on every single street corner, but the issues that we were having on Warden Avenue with people, same thing, parking right up against the corner on Washington. The sign there, I mean, just enforcing the existing law remedied that problem. So.
Just to add to that, I drove down there when this first came up, and all of the streets, I think it was 4th Street or 3rd Street, 4th Street on down, heading towards Country Fair. Each one of those streets has a no parking from here to corner on there, except this particular street. So for whatever reason, so I'm definitely for this. So we've all acknowledged it, and we have a sponsor and co-sponsors. So any other questions or comments on this topic?
I just want to make the comment that this will be on in 2 weeks. Just because we have to publish this.
Yep.
So it'll take that. So you won't see it for resolution next week, and that's why.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so that will be what, second week of February. All right, approval of committee minutes. I'm assuming we have none.
Oh, we do. We do
Oh,
have
we
committee
do?
reports. Yes.
Okay, so approval, so we have to make a motion to approve the committee reports. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? All right, any other further questions for this committee? All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay.
Second by Alderman. All in favor?
Aye.
And we are adjourned.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call to order Committee of the Whole for Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. I'll let the record show that all aldermen are present. We've got no unfinished business. We do have the continuation of a new referral for consideration, and that is the Civilian Review Board discussion. So I wanted to give everyone a heads up. I know we kind of took, I don't want to say took the holidays off, but there was this was something that we really needed to kind of get refreshed and wrap our heads around. And so Alderman Robinson, Alderman Panis, and myself have reconvened. I have worked on a new draft, so I apologize. All of our schedules kind of bouncing back and forth, and I didn't want to send off the draft until they both felt comfortable with it. So I did send this revised draft to the mayor, the alderman, the police chief, our city attorney today, this afternoon. And I'll give you guys some time to digest it. I will give you just kind of in summary, you know, I come from a school of thought that collaboration and cooperation is truly what government is supposed to be. And so rather than just ramming something through because you have numbers one way or the other, that's not what a effective small government or municipal government is. So we've tried to listen to the concerns of the police chief, of our labor attorney, the mayor, the different aldermen, and that's what is reflected in the fourth version here of the CRB. We have to appreciate the fact that our city charter has a strong mayor form of government. And so the mayor appoints and the council confirms. And so, you know, finding individuals to serve on this committee going forward, volunteers is, you know, a key effort, finding the right people who are just willing. And that's what I mean by the right people who are willing to serve. It's an unpaid position. So, you know, what we tried to do is sometimes less is more. And we tried to clean out some of the specifics that were outlined as far as certain training material that was getting bogged down. I think once the CRB is formed, the members along with the police chief can collaborate into, you know, what is a a training manual that will help them move forward, serving our city. And so I look forward to your responses in time. I also ask the mayor to pass this along to our labor attorney, Joe Bracchiol, and maybe in a week, or maybe it'd be better served if in 2 weeks. So the first committees of February, we have feedback from everyone. And I'm hoping that we're able to kind of send this along to the legal team to put it into legalese and move this forward for a vote. So Jason, myself, and Vernon are fairly confident that we're close here. So I ask everyone to please read it, comment on it, and be ready to discuss it on February the 1st. Are there any questions at this time?
I don't have a question, but I do have, well, when there's a version, because I think I've read, like I have this green book and I think I've read 3 other versions. And so I've tried to highlight where the differences are. If it's updated going forward, is there a way to include where the changes are so that we can not, I'm going line by line so that I can make sure.
Yeah. That's a great suggestion, Sonia. Thank you. Track changes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for bringing that up. Yep. Anything else? All right. So seeing nothing, do we have committee reports, Tiffany?
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn committee of the whole. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Anastasia. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. And let me pull up here. All right, so I will call to order strategic planning for Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. Let the record show that all aldermen are present. I'm going to make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous committee meeting. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Alderman Witt. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. No unfinished business. We do have some new referrals for consideration. I had reached out to Mayor Alio on an update on the ice rink and how things were running there. Bill, I don't know if you want me to read Chris's update or if you want to go ahead and update us.
No, you can go ahead. Yeah, Chris, unfortunately, Chris was not able to be here tonight. The basketball league is running down at the former St. John School. So he's there with that. But he did provide this report that I emailed out to everybody today. So John, if you would like to go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. All right, so Chris Shuari gave us an update on the William O. Smith Rec Center. So the rink opened for the season on August 30th, the earliest opening date in the history of the facility, with a tentative closing date of April 3rd. It's currently being utilized for games and practices of the Olean Area Youth Hockey, the Olean Men's Hockey League, St. Bonaventure University, Alfred State University, and Pitt Bradford. Groups are also renting ice time on weekday evenings and on weekends. They're hosting a Learn to Skate program that has been ongoing since October and will conclude in February. They're averaging about 20 individuals per week. Ice Bocce continues every Thursday with participants from the John J. Ash Community Center, planning 2 Ice Bocce tournaments before the conclusion of the season. Public ice skating has been very busy. In the period of September through December, there were over 4,900 child admissions, 1,000 adult admissions, over 5,600 skate rentals. An additional 1,300 skaters participated in the annual 12 ice skating days of Christmas, 400 participants in adult skate and shoot, which is essentially just pickup hockey, over 300 participants in youth skate and shoot. To date, there are 35 ice skating birthday parties have occurred, several more booked over the next few months, and then school groups have also been utilizing the facility including BOCES, Bolivar Richburg, Coudersport, and other homeschool groups. During the calendar year of 2021, the facility was rented 136 times for a variety of different events. Site continues to be a distribution site for Meals on Wheels, as well as in-person lunch program being resumed during the summertime. So there are weekly activities. So this is the, I'm sorry, I apologize. This is the John J. S. Community Center update. I apologize. I didn't change gears there. So currently there are weekly activities of Tai Chi and laser golf, line dancing, breakfast club, arts and crafts, cornhole, pickleball have been added as well. Adult aerobics is held Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday evenings. They're also hosting flu shot clinics and AARP driving courses, so on and so forth. The St. John School has been very active, seeing still at 20 to 25 kids daily for their after school program, including the use of the gymnasium as well as game room activities. Youth basketball for grades 4 through 6 are underway. They have about 10 teams, 4 girls teams, 6 boys teams, 76 players in the league. And he also gave us an update on the Bartlett House. The facility is open 2 days a week for tours. Has held their annual Pie on the Porch during Olean. Held a bus tour from the town of Aurora, bringing 35 senior citizens to look at the facility. Had their successful Victorian Christmas open house on November 26th, and then had expanded hours during the month of December. So I had reached out to Chris, really, to get a good update on how things were going at the rec center. That's, it truly amazed me that it's a wonderful revenue generator. It's a great service to the community, but it also, it helps to balance the cost, and it's a great revenue generator for our operations. I did want to pass along to him, and I can bring it up to you and bring it up to the mayor. Maybe Bill, you could pass this along to him. I had 2 residents just because of, I guess, my interest and affiliation with the disabled community reach out to me and ask for maybe some updated equipment to serve disabled children at the ice rink. And so I'll send you the links. I just wanted to run this. They're not super expensive. I wanted to see if what Chris thought about these and what you guys thought. I'm going to just share my screen quick here. This was one that a family was in another community and saw these being used for children who can't walk, and just a wonderful addition. They used one, they rented one, and said it was incredible. And it's, essentially the child can be strapped in, they can be taken out and pushed around the ice in this device. And then there are a number of other contraptions, some being maybe a little bit more technical, or, I don't know if we need to go to that lengths, and things like this. So I wondered if we have these sorts of amenities, and if we could look into, maybe if we don't, maybe purchasing some.
Yeah, we'd be happy to look into it. So I know we have, for the younger skaters or anybody, they do have they used to use chairs years ago. We've upgraded that, and they have they can hang on to them. They're look very similar to what a lot of the people who like a walker, but they're plastic, and they use them over there. So they do have several of those that the kids use and the adults use when they're learning how to skate and use around there. But we'd be happy to look into these items.
Awesome. I will attach some of the links here and send it to you and Chris. And I told the families I would bring it up to you guys and see what you guys can do. Thank you.
One thing I'd like to mention is that in his report, he says that the addition 1,300 skaters participated and the annual 12 ice skating days of Christmas. And I just want to remind everybody that those are, he goes out and gets sponsors. So there's several organizations that will pay the fee, and we're able to then let all the skaters come in and skate free on those days. So we want to thank those sponsors, and I know he's published list of them and that. But that's a great community effort by everybody who sponsors that, and that's phenomenal. Numbers of the people using the rink this year.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Any comments or questions?
John, can I just make a comment?
Sure, of course. Alderman Witt.
Thank you. I was in talking to Chris, and I think he's doing an awesome job. I think he's really publicized well and really reaches out to school systems and others. And I know he's been working with disc golf. This last summer, he did a program in the park over at Warbets. But I talked to Chris about some of the activities that I've seen up at Canal Side. For instance, the bikes that you can get to put on the ice and different things. So he's going to look into the cost of those. I think anytime we can add more activities for folks, that's just going to increase the usage of that facility and bring in more revenue. So I encourage anybody that has questions or anybody, your constituents that have ideas, to get a hold of Chris, because he's open to ideas. And John, I think you're right. He has really worked hard to promote, but also bring in revenue to our facility. So I commend him on a great job.
Also, John, the only comment I like to make is I was reading that too, and I saw where he had ice bocce. I haven't played bocce since the Christopher Columbus days, but I would never do ice bocce. So if there's any way he can do a on the ground bocce, me and the mayor would probably love to be partners on that one, wouldn't we, Bill?
You know what, David? He's got a group that plays the ice bocce from the senior center. They love it. One guy even wears the old type golf shoes that had the metal on the bottom of them. The metal cleats, I guess you could say. So they leave the ice a little bit rough, and so their footing's better, and they're having a good time out there. So.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Any other questions? All right. So let's see. Agenda. Close that. Okay. All right, so next on the agenda are two discussion items that I'm excited to bring forward here tonight. And they pretty much come together in essentially, they're two parts of one proposal. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get everyone's opinion. All right. All right, so we, the city of Olean, received about $1.5 million from the American Rescue Plan, or what we call ARPA. And as we're all now well aware by now, there are certain criterion that the money can be used for that includes premium pay, water, sewer, broadband projects, in responding to COVID-19 pandemic and its associated economic impacts, which includes loss of business and tourism. And for Olean to grow, we have to continue to pivot towards greater small business development and tourism, which means we've got to invest in our small businesses. The draft that's before you here tonight, which I'm calling the 2022 Boost Business Grant program, is one that I've worked on alongside Alderman Panis. I've talked to Ms. Carrie Kerper as well as the mayor over the past weeks. And our goal really in its entirety, if we got the support of the council and the mayor here, would be to direct $200,000 of our ARPA funds towards supporting our small businesses and help to grow our downtown district. let's face it, all right, if our businesses do better, then our city as a whole does better. The more money that they make, the more that they're able to invest in our community, the more they're able to hire our residents, and the more tax revenue is generated, which benefits us, the city. COVID-19 has served as a real gut punch to all small business owners, as well as aspiring entrepreneurs. And I think it's our duty to step forward and help. The Boost Business Grant Program aims to do just that. And we've broken it down into two key parts, which I'll review with you right now. The first part is a small business marketing grant program. The purpose is to establish a grant program that will provide grant funding up to $5,000 per business that falls within the city of Olean for all proposed marketing expenses, not limited to branding, logo design, point of sale, merchandising, signage, all right, and new building signage, social media, print, TV advertising, website building is a huge one, e-commerce, search engine optimization. You know, those three things right there are mission critical to run an effective small business today. And oftentimes areas that small businesses don't have. As someone who consults small businesses, an area that, you know, small businesses don't have the money to put towards to improve their business, and a little bit would go a really long way. Software expenses for technology relating to marketing, brochures or flyers, handouts for trade shows. A brand book is, again, another staple for a successful business, okay? As well as possibly some other marketing related improvements that could help a business increase its sales, increase its market size. So part A here would be looking for the council to support the transfer of $100,000 from the capital fund, which is associated with the stimulus monies we've received. All right. It's for COVID related business, purposes to help business growth, to a newly created capital fund, which would be called the Small Business Marketing Grant Program. Now, what the first step really in this process, if everyone supports this, would be to set the money aside, okay, to create a capital fund and set it aside. The second step is to define and create the program structure and the application process, okay, and what that would look like. So the second step would be to create the committee along with the Office of Community Development. The application assistance can also be rendered through the Small Business Development Center at JCC, which provides free and confidential services. And I spoke to the director there, and they're willing to help be involved in the application process. So, the suggestive structure, again, at a high level, would be for businesses operating in the city of Olean that employ less than 20 employees and can clearly demonstrate how this, they can't just say, hey, we need the money. They would have to, through an application process and through the review of the BBG committee, it's going to have a positive impact on their business growth. Not just something that's a nicety, but that, you get an actual return on that investment. And so that is part A. I will ask to hold all questions until I get through part B. Part B is the Small Business Rent Assistance Program. This is looking to establish a small business rent assistance program to provide grant funding to brand new or say newly created, and this time frame could change, but even newly created businesses since maybe back to this summer in our downtown Olean business district that would cover essentially 25% of the rent costs up to a period of 24 months, not to exceed $5,000 per business. So I took the kids out today, and Lila and Jack helped me drive, keep track and keep count. But there are about 13 vacant storefronts on North Union Street and about 10 vacant storefronts on West State Street and we stopped around like 7th Street. Okay, so those are kind of the two areas that I think we could all categorize as really our downtown business district. And seeing those storefronts filled, I think, is ultimately all of our goal and what we would all love to see. And I think the existing stores that are there would like to see that too, right? The more the merrier. So this too would look to seek $100,000 out of the stimulus funds provided from the federal government to create a small business rent assistance program. This could fund 20 new businesses in our downtown district up to $5,000, over the course of 24 months, over the course of 2 years. The first 2 to 3 years is the most critical for a small business to survive. And so if we can help to offset some of those operating costs, I thought it was a better strategy to stretch that out over a period of time rather than just say for the first 6 months, we'll pay 100% of the rent. It puts the skin in the game. They've got to put skin in the game, right? And they've got to make it work, but maybe it helps to get some of those storefronts with some new tenants in them and get our downtown bumping by summertime. And again, same thing. We'd heavily work with with Carrie's office, with the mayor, and forming a committee to help set up the structure and the application process. And yeah, ultimately those who are interested maybe in leaving a different location. What I would love to see is, maybe it persuades them to come from Allegheny or from a neighboring community and come into our downtown and set up shop, maybe to leave their home if they have a cottage business they're running out of their garage and say, hey, that place that was WT Salon's been vacant now for well over a year or two, and you know what, now that the city's program that can help me cover rent, and I'm going to go ahead and take a risk and start a business there. So that's ultimately what Alderman Panis and I kind of put our brains together on this and wanted to bring forward. All right. And both programs look to provide grants, not loans, up to $5,000 to any business sector or not-for-profit, really of 20 employees or less, okay, for either marketing improvements or downtown rent assistance. And if the Common Council and the mayor support these programs, our next step would be to bring formal PLs, okay, forward for a vote. We set that money aside, and then we work with the mayor and Carrie, okay, to try to create a committee and how we would go about structuring and running these programs. Ideally, I think the goal would be to start getting the money out there by May or June, if that's possible. But that's what I would love to see happen if we could collaborate and work together. So I'll shut up now and open it up to any comments or questions.
John, if I may.
Yes.
Okay, you mentioned using the stimulus money, and we got $1.4 million we have coming. So that's over a 2-year period. So are you looking at 50,000 1 year for the A program and 50,000 the next year, or are you looking to with both programs, you looking to put the entire 200,000 out of the current money that we got from the stimulus and just putting that aside to run this program?
So we've received our first check. Is that right, Bill?
Yeah, it's a little over 700,000. Yeah. And
the second check is coming in August or July?
Yeah, but somewhere in that area. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, I guess unless there is a specific need for it, I guess what at the bare minimum, $100,000 to kick off the marketing program, and $50,000, because really the idea is to have a 2-year coverage of rent or a subsidy, 25% rent subsidy. So it could be really setting aside 150 now, and then based on the second payment, probably setting aside another 50 for that rent program.
Okay.
Okay. John, can I ask a couple questions?
Of course.
Okay. So basically the person that's going to oversee this is Carrie's office.
Well, that's
Yeah.
If she's up to if she's up to the task.
And I'm just concerned about that because she already has a lot on her plate. That's just one question. Another question, I think this is a great idea. I think anytime we can help small business, it's wonderful. What happens to these funds if we don't use them? Do they just stay in that fund or would they go back to the city after 2 years?
I believe that if it doesn't get used, I mean, we have control of the purse strings, right, Linda? So
Yeah.
we either decide to continue the program. I mean, this is essentially like, it's a new venture, right? Like we did with the sidewalk program, right? We didn't know whether people were going to step up and use it, and it was a huge success.
Right.
So, my thought is, yeah, if it doesn't get used, then it just goes back into, we transfer it back into the capital fund, and no harm, no foul. I think you bring up a very valid point in what Carrie thinks and what she's able to propose, suggest, I know she's managed tons of programs that are similar to this, how we could go about it. And like I said, that's a really important question. But
One more question.
To answer your question, I think it just rolls back into our ARPA funds. Bill,
Okay.
is there a timeline that we have to use the ARPA funds?
I'm gonna shoot from the hip here on this one. I believe it's 5 years. So I think we would, but I can check on that. That seems to stick in my mind that we have up to 5 years to use it. So, so that, we could check on that. So we're gonna have more time than just 2 years of funding here.
Right. And one other question, John. With the program that's going to be going into the Siegel's building, the manufacturers next to the Hanny. I think the proposed use would be to put small entrepreneurs in there to use as an incubator to that space. Would these funds help in that program, or would that have to come from a different source? Do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah. First of all, I don't know what the setup is with the individuals who are going to be in that. First of all, I don't know when that would come to fruition, what the expected date of actually, businesses in there would be. Fair question. Are they going to pay rent? And if they pay rent, this program could cover 25% of whatever. If it, in an incubator like that, the rent might only be $100 a month. It might be really low. But those businesses could apply for the marketing grant portion, which could help them build a brand, create advertising. So, I mean, any businesses in the city of Olean can apply. And my goal, I'm hoping startups, right? I'm hoping small startups, as well as existing mom and pops apply for that. But yeah, I mean, I guess they could, Linda, but I don't know what the timeline is for them to get into that Siegel's building.
Okay, I know Carrie's on. Carrie, do you know anything about that, the projected time frame?
I don't know for the Seagulls now. I would assume sometime in 2022. However, I am unsure about the first floor commercial, if it's staying that same use or if they'll have different plans.
Okay, thanks.
Since you brought it up, Linda, before we jump on to another question, I guess I will reach out to Carrie to ask her thoughts on the management side of this. And I know it's not explained here tonight. I'll go ahead and stop sharing. I know, we haven't defined the details, right? But what do you think, Carrie? I mean, is this something that's manageable? Does this have a positive impact? What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, I think it's super positive. I think we'll have to work out some more details and really think about some things before really putting it through into legislation.
Okay.
I could even connect you with some of my revolving loan fund committee members and just see what we've done throughout the years, what's successful, and really what the need is. It might be good to do some outreach to some of the businesses and tweak it a little bit, but I think you're on track.
Okay. Great.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think? We continue to think a little bit about it before we do a release
Mhm.
or?
Yep, absolutely. Great. That sounds great. Thank you, Carrie.
Sure.
Anyone else?
Don?
Yeah. Alderman.
And I think this is great because, you know, when I went, that a large part of the downtown businesses are in Ward 4. So I from Ward 4, this is great. And I think that a number of the businesses really did, are still catching up. And so I think that that's great. Under the second part with the rent over the 24-month period, do we have an idea of what the average, I'm looking to say is at 5,000 over 24 years, or might we need to expand that? What's the average square footage cost for rental downtown in terms of business space? I mean, do we have a sense of that to be able to say, you know, would that 5,000, would that cover that 25%? For some it might, but I'm not sure. I don't know what the average square footage costs for rental downtown. And I would even be, you know, if we got 10 businesses and we did $10,000 over 24 months, we would still be way further ahead in looking at what's going to incentivize. But yeah, I think they're both great ideas. I really like and appreciate the fact that it's 20 employees or less. And again, I don't know what the average number of employees are. I mean, I did go around and kind of introduce myself, but I think that would fit almost all of our existing small businesses there, to be able to help them. Because I think that one of the things I've thought is that, you know, we, in terms of our small businesses, haven't marketed well. You know, I feel like we're just like a page in the Cattaraugus County brochure, and that this could really help them to be able to be creative and innovative, because $5,000 in a small business goes a long way to be able to do some of that work. So, and maybe tag it with, like you said, look at maybe JCC or Bonas would be willing, you know, if they have marketing interns or something, be able to work with the small businesses to capitalize on, you know, what to do with that $5,000.
That's a great idea. That's a really good idea. And that was partially the idea was to have the Small Business Development Center act as a facilitator for the application process, right? To have someone who has expertise in business and small business, and, you know, rather than just say, let's pretend a struggling small business says, you know what, I want to drop $5,000 on a new logo. And then they run that by, you know, the SBDC, and they say, is that really the best use of that, you know, of your application? Like, you're going to submit this as an application. The committee could shoot you down and say, that's not, you know, you really got to sound this out and prove that it's going to provide a return on your business. And so that's a great idea. You know, we can do some more legwork. I called around, and from 3 small vacant properties, you know, $700 to $1,000 a month was the going rate. Not the big, huge, you know, I'm thinking of like that vacant building that's right next to Community Bank. That's a pretty decent size office space. I don't know what that's renting for, but the smaller storefronts are really $700 to $1,000 a month. And so I figure, you know, even $1,000 a month, $250, you know, that's almost what, 3,000 or so a year. So less is more, and this is not written in stone. This is a brainstorm. How do we draft it? How do we do this and make it so it's going to really serve our community? So any suggestions, tweaks, you know, less is more. Do we shoot for 10? If we get 10 storefronts filled, you're absolutely right. Holy cow, that changes the game plan downtown. So I'm just taking tons of notes here, and I think that's some really good feedback. Thank you. Other comments, suggestions, questions?
I just wanted to add a comment that kudos to you and Panis for coming up with this. This is a great idea, especially for downtown. You know, we want to attract more people downtown. We want to attract more people to the region. So the marketing aspect bringing in these funds and utilizing them towards our local business. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I mean, the goal is to, I think there's a lot of little businesses hiding out there in people's homes and their garages, and you know, they're probably always wishing they could be somewhere else or be downtown more visible, and it comes with a little bit higher cost. So it's trying to offset that enough to get people to do it. And the benefit we get is, I think, you know, if we can fill those storefronts, it just makes our city look that much better, and then we can grow from the appearance we put on.
Mhm. John, can I just add one more thing? You know,
course.
I was sitting here listening to everybody, and thank you and Jason for putting this together. Would there be a way to also include upgrading equipment? Like some people, you know, like say you have a bakery and they would love to expand, but they just don't have the money to expand equipment wise. Is that something that we could look at also?
Possibly. You know, I mean, we could kick that around, right? I don't want to stretch I wouldn't want to stretch the money too far. You're absolutely right, Linda. There's capital, you know, it is relatively easy to get a capital loan to buy new equipment. It is not very easy to get marketing money. You know, you can get an SBA loan for a business to get new, if you're a restaurant, you know, new new kitchen equipment and things like that, or a new truck for your delivery business, because it's collateralized, right? And there's a lot of revolving loan programs through the county, things like that for capital investment. But no one's going to just hand out money to help you pay your rent or to pay for marketing. And so I guess that's where can we make the biggest bang for your buck? And without putting, you know, drawing too much more out of the ARPA funds. But I think it's a very valid point. I agree with it, but I would tend to say, I think it's easier to find money for equipment upgrades through the conventional loan methodology.
Okay, just a thought.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions? Okay, very good. So maybe what Alderman Panis and I will do is reach out to the mayor and Carrie's office, set up a meeting and sit down and kind of brainstorm and see, you know, I'd like to learn a lot of what's worked in your dealings with the revolving loan funds and how we could go about maybe structuring this. Sound good to everybody?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for your time on this. I'm excited. All right, so that. Anything, any committee reports there, Tiffany?
We have none.
Okay. Mayor, anything before we adjourn?
Just want to let everybody know that, you know, the DPW did a great job getting out there, cleaning up the storm. And you've probably heard complaints already, but we did issue 99 tickets for being in the way of the snowplow. Of that 99, 4 were written at the request of private lot owners for people parking in their lots. So it's but they did a good job. They get out. They'll be out tonight at midnight, starting to remove some of the snow from North Union Street and West State. So.
I just like to echo that, Mayor, being a former plow driver. The amount of snow we got in a short time, the city streets do look pretty good. And I like to, Bob's not here, but maybe you can pass it along. DPW did a great job on most of the streets I've been on today anyways.
I'm happy to do that, Dave. Thank you.
Yep.
I thought for sure, Mayor, you were going to get Dave out of retirement with how we got hit yesterday. I thought you guys were going to recruit him out there.
Oh, Anytime, John, but I think the union would file a grievance, but I would love to do it again.
All right.
And not if I declare a state of emergency for
There
the
you-
city, then we can take you on, Dave.
Okay, just let me know.
There you go. Bill, have you ever done that?
No, haven't had to. I'm knocking on wood right now.
Yeah.
Haven't
yeah,
had
yeah.
to,
yeah.
so let's hope we don't have to call a state of emergency. So.
And you didn't, did you, Linda?
No,
There's
No.
a question. When the flood of 72? I don't know. When was the last?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. Anyways,
Probably, yeah.
I lived through that. I was in this flood of 72. I know, you weren't even born yet, right, John?
no.
You weren't even thought of, John.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
Second by Alderman Panis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Awesome. Everybody have a nice evening. We are adjourned.
Go Bananas.
Go Bombers.
Yes.
Go Bills.
Go Buffalo. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.